Welcome to the Murfreesboro.com podcast, where we talk about all things Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Join host John I. Carey, his co-host Jonathan Harmon, and producer Trent Denson as they talk about all the great things happening in our city. From construction updates to local business spotlights to all the amazing events happening in our community. Listen in for all you need to know from Murfreesboro.com. Welcome to the show.
Hello and good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the greatest podcast in Murfreesboro.
Of all time.
Of all time. Too bad we don't have an echo. We'd be like, in the world.
Oh, we do have an echo.
We do have an echo. Thank
Producer
you, Trent. Awesome. Murfreesboro.com podcast. Thank you all for tuning back in. We appreciate it. John I. Carey here, as always.
Jonathan Harmon over here.
Trent. Producer Trent, excuse me. My bad.
Yes, sir.
I'll call you PT from now on.
That'll work.
And then Jeff over there, off camera. Oh, he waved. All right.
March
is coming.
March is coming.
He's just shaking his head. Nope, ain't happening. And then we have a wonderful guest today with some amazing coffee that you brought.
Dude.
Thank you
This is
so
delicious.
much.
Thank you for the call.
Yes,
Yeah.
I just call you Mr. Jason.
Yeah,
Jason
for
Day.
sure. Jason Day.
Jason Day, owner of all the
Red Bicycles here in
Co-
Murfreesboro.
That's right. Yeah. So thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it.
Definitely. And okay, hold on. What was this again?
That is the French toast latte.
Delicious.
Brown
Yes.
sugar, hazelnut, and cinnamon.
All right, y'all hear that? Go try this.
Yeah.
And a touch of love.
And
It is good.
or what'd you say? Take the French toast and
Yeah, they
it out.
squeeze the French toast oil down into it.
That's what I do. I give the first one for free. And then
yeah. And then, see, it hooks you.
I'm a legal drug dealer,
You're
basically.
right. Give me some sugar.
Yeah.
I need it.
Come on, man.
You guys will be standing outside the store
I
in
need
2
some
days
French
twitching.
toast.
Twitching.
Come on.
I need my
I need my fix.
That's about right with this
believe
thing.
it.
This thing is good, man. Thank you. What? Hold on. All right. Well, if this one's this good, what's another one of your favorites?
The
Some nugget
butterbeer, that's a popular one. It's
What
white
is it? I'm sorry?
Butterbeer.
Okay.
So that's white chocolate caramel vanilla. That's a
In
popular
the
one.
coffee.
In the coffee.
Okay.
And then the Cuban is probably our biggest. That's,
Yeah.
That is brown
always
sugar
good.
and half and half. Everyone
Yeah.
loves that one.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the cube.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah, we make a lot of those. So.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh, I'm
classic.
sure. I think that's what I had the initial first time.
I think the first time you came
Wasn't
in,
it?
no, I think you had a sweater weather because it was
yes.
the holiday time.
It was on the thing. I
Yeah, it
remember
was
that.
one of the special
It's
ones.
a song, right?
The sweater
Sweater
weather.
weather. The one about the holes in my sweater.
Yeah, that was we do that in the holiday time, so that was a Christmas.
That's all. Yeah, God, that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah,
That was-
you just opened or something? I
yeah,
can't
we
remember.
were just a few months into it at
Yeah.
that point.
At the other spot.
At
at the other spot.
spot.
Yeah,
Case and Lane. Or
Yeah, Case and
Not
it was
Case
Case and
St.
Trail
Andrews.
and St.
Case and
Andrews.
Trail. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now there's two here in Murfreesboro.
There
right?
are, yeah. The
Okay.
Case and Trail and St. Andrews, then in that neighborhood, and then now on the square.
Now so three. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two.
Or yes. Sorry.
Yes.
I was repeating
Monday,
the case.
man.
I know. It's
Math.
exactly. Math's hard for me.
Math's
1
hard.
plus 1 is 3. Yes.
I think often if I didn't have my phone,
And
like how horrible my life would be.
right?
For
No
math.
kidding. Yeah.
Right. Well, not just that, but did you guys ever memorize phone numbers back when
Oh,
you were
yeah.
young?
Dude,
Oh,
I still
yeah.
Can you
got
imagine?
so many remembered?
Well, yeah, but can you imagine now, like
Oh,
trying to
God.
have them all memorized or carry a Rolodex or
Well,
whatever
now-
you would
So
do?
now it's not, for me, it's not phone numbers, it's passwords.
Oh God.
Like
yeah.
every site needs, you can't have your same password you had 2 months ago. And
Yeah.
so my whole like notes in my phone is
Yep.
just me reminding myself
Yep.
what all these passwords
Oh,
are.
I
And then
know.
you got to put them in code because you don't want somebody to get your phone and
Right.
like
Yeah.
have access to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I do that thing where it always says suggest hard password or something like that. So it's not like, John 1 2 3 4
Yeah.
or whatever the password. It's like capital N M
Yeah.
question mark 87 dash
And you
4.
do that?
Yeah. Well, I have a spreadsheet like you
Yeah.
and save, but God forbid if I'm somewhere and need to pull it, I'm like, I'm screwed.
way.
I don't
Yeah.
remember it.
Yeah.
No way. No way.
Yep. Screwed on that one.
So Red Bicycle. So first of all, I want to say you guys did a phenomenal job on that space.
Oh,
when
thank
I
you
when
very
I
much.
first heard, Binks is closing, I was
Yep.
sad. And then I was like, and it's going to become a restaurant. And I'm like, "Pfft, whatever. There's no way. No, it's not. But man, y'all did it. Y'all knocked it out.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that it was an undertaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I
an
bet.
undertaking. It's funny, I wasn't looking to do a second location. That location kind of found,
No?
that kind of found me. So, I opened November 19th, 2019, the first one.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit 4 months into that.
Yeah.
And then, that was in and of itself a whole other, that was tough.
Yeah.
So getting out of that, but once things kind of got back to somewhat normal, I was ready to just kind of take a break, like just breathe a little bit,
Maintain.
maintain. You know, I live right down the street from that one, so I was like, well, let me just enjoy this one. I live close to it. I can just,
maybe make a little money.
Maybe make a little money.
Right,
That's exactly right. Maybe try to put a little money in the bank, and because I hadn't. And then I had a customer come in, and she was like, God, you know what would be great is if I could have fun, because she comes in every morning and gets her Cuban. She's like, it'd be great if I could have a Cuban, and she owns a boutique down the square. She's like, it'd be great if I could get one in the afternoon. You know, Binks is closing. You should go look at that space.
And you're like, duh.
And I swear to God, guys, I was like, and then I realized where Binks was, though. I knew where it was. I was like, that is a great location. So I'm literally driving the first day down there. I'm like, I hope I hate it.
I hope I hate it.
Please let me
You didn't hate it. There's no way
then you walk
hated
in
it.
and you're like, oh, it's awesome. Like, it's just this beautiful building. And then you start thinking of the square, and you start thinking of what we do and the opportunity to have it.
Oh,
there
you got all those
in the middle.
attorneys and the courthouse and everybody.
But it's
down
not
there.
just coffee. That's the thing.
exactly.
And that's what you guys
It's
are.
a full restaurant. I mean, and
Yeah.
that was the thing. And being able to bring that there, I like to think of it as really a restaurant that does coffee. You know, it's kind of
Gotcha.
But it's good coffee too. So
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
a little bit of both.
We try to do good on everything, but back to the space. I mean, you've seen it. It's a beautiful space. It was these beautiful original hardwood floors, that exposed brick, and I'm stupid, so I'm looking at it like, because St. Andrews I built as a gray shell, so I had to put in plumbing, electrical, all that stuff, and I was like, oh, this will be a piece of cake. It's got electrical, it's got plumbing, I've got to move a few things around, change some decor. And that was the dumbest thought I've ever had in my life.
it does have plumbing. It does have electrical that are
All of that is true.
Yeah.
But it also has old codes that are outdated. It's got it's 100 some odd years old.
How many different plumbing materials were in there?
A lot.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is, it's one thing to have. So then, I mean, long story short, I saw it and I was like, okay, this is awesome. But then the building owner had a ton of suitors for that too. So then it's not a matter of just me wanting. It's just, does he want me there? And I got lucky. The second time I went and looked at it, the building owner himself was there. And usually when you do these things, it's all through brokers and you never really talk to the building owner. And he just happened to be there. And he's like, well, what are your plans? What are your goals for this place? And we sat there and talked for probably an hour, and he loved it. He loved the idea of what we were going to do. And he deserves a lot of credit, because it was really him who gave us that opportunity. And, then we started negotiating. Negotiating was a piece of cake. And he's been great, because this took a lot longer to build it than I anticipated, than he anticipated, because of codes and just everything was back ordered. Equipment was hard to get. It was just a nightmare building the thing. And but he's been awesome, and so he deserves a lot of credit for that. We wouldn't be there without him. So that, then you go in there and you start seeing it, and then the creative juices start going, and you're like, okay, I could make this. I think I could make this awesome.
And you did.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Tell me about you really have two spaces there.
Yeah.
And you guys did something a little bit different on that left-hand side.
Yeah.
When you explained that to me the first time that I went in there, it's very, very cool what you got going on that side. Obviously, the restaurant and the coffee shop is phenomenal. But what's going on the left side?
Right. So the way this all came about, so Red Bicycle is the brand Red Bicycle is owned by my friend Dave, and Dave started Red Bicycle. He actually bought a coffee shop in North Carolina. He moved it to Nashville. And I've known Dave for years. I'd come out to visit Nashville, and then we started talking about taking the brand outside of Nashville. And I said I would do it. I'll put my money into it. And Murfreesboro was the location I chose. Contingent I can make it kind of my own. I didn't want to do a franchise. I didn't want to do anything like that. And he was agreeable to that. So basically, I put everything I had into the. I quit my job, moved here, and put every dime I had into that first one. And when this opportunity came, our idea was now with my 2 stores here and then the Nashville stores, it was he had this idea of roasting coffee for our stores. We've been buying coffee from a roastery in Nashville, and so we started conceptualizing about having, because of the 2 spaces. Obviously, in hindsight, I kind of now wish I had the 2 spaces just for the restaurant, but at the time, that's a bold move. So I was like, well, so he was like, well, we could use this for the roastery side, and then really the roastery was only really on the back side, and so the front side we just kind of use as overflow seating. So you have the couches and just kind of a different vibe when you go in there. So if you want to just grab a coffee and go chill with your friends, and not sit down at the restaurant, you can do that.
Loungy,
yeah,
coffee lounge.
And then he's got the roastery there, so he can sell coffee beans and. They can do tastings and latte classes and all kinds of stuff. So we kind of wanted to give that whole kind of coffee experience, and that's what we did. So we try to utilize the 2 spaces for that and give it something unique to downtown.
Well, I think the tasting bar was super cool. Like that's a really cool idea. There's a lot of folks. I have Cedar Glade Brews over here. And there's a lot of folks that want to get into brewing beer. There's also a lot of folks that are and want to continue to get into roasting coffee beans, because it's as much of a science as making beer.
It is.
Good gracious,
it's crazy. It's like a chemistry experiment.
It is.
I mean, you don't realize how much. I mean, even when I got into this, like the science that goes into espresso and making those coffee and making these drinks, it's unbelievable. Like how much goes into that. And the way I equate it is kind of like like you go to Nashville, you do a whiskey tour, and this is really a tour. We kind of wanted to, that's kind of how we were thinking, is we'll just do it with coffee, where you can kind of go see the roastery, see how the coffee's made, try the coffee, try the different roasts, understand the process, what it's like to dial in an espresso machine, what the shots are, all the science that goes behind it. So for people who want to really get into the weeds, we give them that opportunity to go sit over there and do that. So. And then, like I said, you can taste it, and then go buy any one you want. So, just a cool experience.
Yeah.
That was kind of unique. Something that we didn't know, we didn't see that was around here. And
yeah, I've never seen it before.
Kind of a cool compliment to the coffee shop and the restaurant next door. So.
Well, and I'm a black coffee drinker. Like, this is delicious, but I feel my blood sugar going up. Right? So I'm a black coffee guy, but. What's cool is in a high quality coffee shop like yours, when you say, which roast, you want a light roast, dark roast, whatever. And then, no. Do you want this roast that's dark? Do you want this roast that's dark or this roast that's dark?
Right.
And if you can taste the difference between them, then you've got good coffee.
Right.
And it's rare that you can say black coffee, this roast, and that it's not the same as the other.
And it's funny because when I Stay Golden in Nashville was our and still is right now our provider for roastering. So I would go over there, and just like that, man, they would have bunch 6, 7, 8 different roasts, and I would try them, and you could differentiate between all of them, and that's how I would pick. I want this as my dark roast, I want this as my light roast, and I would alternate them out, and ultimately I'd let the customers kind of decide.
Sure.
But I would go in there and just I'd walk out of there wired, like you would believe. But,
I bet.
But I mean, like you said, really good coffee, you can taste the difference, and it's subtle, but it's noticeable. And so now we're bringing that where they can. I'm
just curious. You have to excuse me. I'm a little naive on that side.
Yeah.
Like with wine tastings, how you said you can taste different. What's the difference in the coffee? Like, is one?
It's a lot of it's the bean, the origin of the beans. So they come from all over the place. So you'll have beans from Guatemala. You'll have beans from Ethiopia. So the beans themselves, how they're grown, are different. How you roast them is different.
Okay.
There's a lot of variables that go into how they differ.
Even how they harvest them.
Really?
Like the method of harvesting.
Yeah.
You ever get those beans that are from the monkey? You know what I'm talking about?
The poop beans.
The poop beans.
Thank God these roasters have like a filter on them.
Oh, okay.
These roasters are crazy. Like, I didn't know until Dave got the roaster over there. I never was into coffee roasting. I don't know anything about it. I still don't. But I look at that roaster and I see all the things that thing does, and it filters out all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. These are beans that are pulled from a farm, so you're going to have rocks and
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah.
So you have a filter system that filters all that stuff out, and then.
Well, aren't those particular beans? They're like a delicacy or something, aren't they? And
they're like $1,000 a pound.
Yeah, something crazy, but people love them.
Yeah, because they get digested by the monkey, and they
it is?
literally pick up piles of poop that had the beans in them, and that's what they.
I just know them as the poop beans. I read about them one time.
We don't sell those for the people listening. That is a delicacy we do not have.
I bet you. How much you want to bet though? If you had that and showed that, you would have a line of people being like, "Dude, I got to try this."
I guarantee you would sell them out like that.
Yeah,
we have the monkey poop beans.
People would try it just to try
I'm not
it.
gonna lie, I'd try it.
Say they did
Exactly.
Sure.
I would absolutely try it.
I would 100% try that too.
I would too, to be honest. Be like, well, I tried it.
That's right.
And it was surprisingly amazing.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen. And then I would only be able to buy $1,000 coffee.
I feel like some restaurants have stuff on their menu specifically for that.
Yeah.
It's like there's no way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like this is just
shock value.
Shock value.
Have you ever heard of? It's not there anymore. It's in Nashville. It used to be on Debumbria in a place called Caffeine.
I haven't. No.
Years ago, back in the college days, many moons ago, used to go out there. But they had this drink that, excuse me, you had to ask for it specifically.
Right.
But the guy told me one time, all these people would come in like before they would go out downtown, and they would drink it paired with a Red Bull. Keep that in mind. I was like,
dear Lord.
But they would boil the root, caffeine root.
Yeah.
And for like however long, and the water was like 4,000% caffeine of like a normal cup of coffee, something unreal. I can't remember what it was, but they would use that when they make their drinks. So you had to ask for it specifically,
and mix it with Red Bull.
And then they'd mix it with Red Bull. And
how do people's hearts not explode?
That's what I said. I was like, "Are you like a walking heart attack?" And like, but it's not there anymore.
Is that the greatest pre-workout ever?
But imagine the crash.
Yeah. Oh my god. I was actually afraid of it. I was like, no.
Yeah, there's no way.
I would afraid my heart would. Just.
There's no way. That's one I wouldn't try.
Yeah. He said no. People would come get it before they would go out downtown.
Oh, I bet they would.
And then they'd just be wired all night.
Yeah.
It's like, nope. But do you have anything off menu that people like a surprise drink? Or?
No, not yet. But I like that idea. We have a lot of food off menu that the staff makes that we haven't done that little deal yet where we have those little secret codes but we could. We can cook a lot of stuff back there. Like the hardest part of this for me is being disciplined in the menu and having, because I want to diversify and I want to make sure everyone who comes in there has something they want to eat. So, burgers and salads and all the stuff we have. But it's so tempting because we can do so much stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and a lot of times we do, like just for us, we'll make some stuff. This is awesome. I should put this on the menu.
Nice. There you go.
So
but then all of a sudden your menu's 25 pages long.
That's it. Then I'm Cheesecake Factory.
I was about to say Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah. And then my Cisco orders are 10,000 a week because I'm buying all this food.
And you can't, it takes you 6 months to train a chef.
Exactly. So what we do is what I try to do, and we started it over at St. Andrews, is every couple months I'll do a special and we'll just put something on the menu that we think would be awesome that people might like. We'll do it for a month. We'll kind of test it.
Is that like the sweater weather?
The sweater weather.
Yes.
So we do the drinks. We do the holiday drinks. Obviously, come September time, it's go time because that's autumn, and then you're doing your pumpkin spice and all that.
Oh,
kind
for
of
sure.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And then Christmas.
It's go time.
And then Christmas, you're doing your Christmas drinks. Tomorrow, this is Valentine's Day. So February is tomorrow when this tapes, but we're doing our love latte, which is white chocolate raspberry. So that'll be available all of February. So we'll do stuff like that, special drinks like that. And then with food, we kind of just have these, that's kind of the most fun part of it, is we'll just mess around and I think this would be good. We'll make it, and then like the staff will all eat it. And if we think it's awesome, we're like, all right, let's go put this on. And we'll do that for about a month. And if it kills it, then the next menu round I do, because I kind of just do printed menus because I'm always tinkering. And if it kills it, we'll put it on the menu.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't that how you, that's half the fun.
that's half the fun.
Yeah.
That's the whole, that's the most fun part of it, is just trying out new stuff and then seeing people enjoy it. That's the coolest
that would be
part.
so cool with your stuff, because I've actually saw an article. It was for Nashville, but it was like all these restaurants, and it was like things not on the menu but you can ask for.
Oh yeah.
And so, or like it just said, like most of the restaurants you could go into, be like, hey, you got anything off menu that you like? And they're like, well, let me tell you about this.
Right.
And so you're like,
right.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's awesome, and I think we'll eventually get to that point as we start getting more entrenched into the community, because the square one's only 2 months old, and then I'm only 2 years old over at St. Andrews. So as people start really figuring out because we still get so many new people, and so as people figure out what we are, then we can start morphing into okay, now that you have the core down, we can start going off and doing some cool stuff.
Well, I remember when you first opened the other store because man, I got a bazillion messages on Instagram and Facebook like, "Is Red Bicycle really coming here?"
Yeah.
And then when you, oh my God, I had to like tone people down on Instagram from when the rumor started about you opening up on the square.
Yeah.
And finally, because I was actually going to go over there, I think you and I went back and forth at one point about doing a construction update.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was something like, I wanted to hold on until you had some more stuff to show.
Right.
But so many people, so I finally took a picture of the sign on your door. I was like, yes, it's official. They're coming. Stop messaging me.
Yeah.
But so many people were so excited about it.
Well, you know what's funny about that? So that was one of the coolest days of my life, I'll be honest with you. We I signed the deal. It was almost a year ago to the day. We're in January. We're into January right now. So it was about a year ago I first looked at the space, and I signed the lease shortly thereafter. And I think it was in late February, early March of last year is when I announced it. Announced that and I knew for about 6 weeks prior to announcing it. And I said, I think it was a Monday. I said, "Oh, big announcement coming tomorrow at 3:00." And I just kind of teased it a little bit. And then I remember I was at the bank. I'll never forget it. I was at the bank. And I said, "Oh God, it's 2:55. I got to go."
Yeah.
I promised I was going to do an Instagram post, and so I posted that we're coming to the square, like literally from my truck in the bank parking lot. And I didn't think anything of it. And I put my phone down. Bing, 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 bing. I mean, for the next day and a half.
Oh yeah.
And it was one of the coolest, because now with St. Andrews, it was they didn't really know what we were going to be. And this one was cool because now, because of what we had done over at that St. Andrews store, they knew what was coming here. And to be that excited, and it was just the coolest experience ever. So I tried really hard. I had to wait, and I was like, I have this theory, like if people are going to take time to wish me well, or I want to always reply to it. And so I really try to reply to every comment. I really try to reply. This one was the first time I'm like, oh God.
There's
no way.
Yeah.
But I did.
Wow.
It took me all weekend.
Right.
But if someone's going to put, like I said, they're going to take the time to say, we're so excited for you. I feel compelled to just thank them. Because I mean, it means so much to me.
You must have had some of that caffeine water.
Huh?
You must have had some caffeine water.
Yeah, I had this chased with a Red Bull. I was like, let's go.
I got this.
I got this.
Yeah. No, I actually, I don't remember the exact day, but I know what day you're talking about because I got a ton of messages on Instagram of people forwarding me the post saying, it's confirmed. I'm like, I saw it too.
Yes,
but
it is.
Then I was, yes, thank you very much. Whatever. But
Now, what's funny about that too is in my when I announced it, I thought we're going to be opening. I think I said summer.
You did.
You
even put it in the window. I was like, come on, man. There's no way.
Well, okay, so this was late February, March, so April, May, June, July, August. I thought summer's an easy bet. Like, I didn't name a date. I just said summer.
Yeah.
And then we got,
and then reality set in.
Oh my God! So then we got to like August, and I was like, I had the printer change, and I'm like, winter, fall. We're just gonna,
so we ran into the same thing here. So we actually were building almost concurrently. So we signed the lease here in March, or I guess it was the end of February, and I was like, oh, we'll be open in August. And then like July rolls around, oh, it'll be September. And then August hits, and it's like, well, it looks like it's going to be maybe end of October. And then we got 4 days in 2021. 4 days.
Yeah.
there you go.
No, it's fun. And then so it turned into like what I thought was going to be a well-timed 3-month promotion to an 8-month elongated, And then I just decided, well, I'm going to try to, because it's just me. There's no big corporation behind me. It's just me building the store. So I wanted to keep people kind of involved in the process of it. So I would, when we were excavating back there and putting in a grease trap, I showed it where I wanted them to kind of see all the work that goes into doing this so they can kind of understand, okay, this is a huge undertaking. Yeah. And so when it opens, hopefully they understand, like, this is why it took so long.
Right.
And it'll be worth it. It's just, it takes time. And
–
like you said, I mean, whatever your budget is on time, double it. If not, triple it. On money, double it.
At least
double it.
Probably triple it to be conservative. Whatever you're budgeting, triple it. It's just the way it is. St. Andrews is the same thing. I mean, I took my life savings and I put it all into St. Andrews thinking this would be enough. And by the day it opened, I was broke. I mean, I had no money to my name. So it just all goes, you know how it is. It goes well above. And
and it's the little stuff, man. Every now and then there's some big things that come out and bite you, but
The big stuff you kind of know. It is the little
exactly,
things.
but it's it's just a never-ending parade of little things.
Yeah, especially
it's only $1,000. It's only $2,500. It's only $500 14 times
30 different times.
Right.
Like for the St. Andrews store, I was like, okay, I know what the electrical. That's your big cost, right? I know plumbing. That's your big cost. This and that. Now, what you don't realize is at the end of it, you got to buy all this. You got to buy pans and pots and coffee cups and
toilet paper holders
and lids and straws and everything you need that you get to kind of take it for granted when you walk into a restaurant. You got to buy all that stuff, and it is expensive. And so, at the end, you're like, ugh.
And then hopefully you get open and you're like, oh crap, I need more.
Yes,
of these.
Right.
Yeah. And it's funny that store, we had Department of Health in the 18th, and when they said you're good to go, I opened the 19th with the kitchen not even ready to go because I just needed to. Like, we're just going to sell coffee. I just need to get people in this door and see. I have to see a deposit at some point in this bank account because I've seen withdrawals for 8 months straight.
100% relate to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we did coffee the first 2 days, and then we did limited menu the first weekend, and then kind of
we opened with other people's beer because ours wasn't ready.
That's right.
I mean, we had to get some people
in there. Yeah.
That's fine. Similar with it's funny because like with us with website and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You don't think like exactly what you just said. It's like when I started business many years ago, it's like, oh, this shouldn't be too bad. Let's do this. Holy crap!
Yes.
Like it's way more than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, the square!
I can only imagine the square.
The square was like that. Oh my goodness!
Every project you open turns into four more.
Oh my good God!
Did you have a lot of those moments? Like you open a door and you're like, damn.
So the square. I don't know if you guys remember Banks, but Banks on the side we're in, that back area was already sectioned off. I think they had an office back there. So in my mind, I'm like, oh. Well, we'll just put the kitchen back there. It's kind of the perfect size for a kitchen, but the floor was worn out, and so first thing I had to do was just replace the floor. So we literally, for about the first 3 months of building it, we didn't have a floor at all because we pulled that out because I needed all of the plumbing and electricals in a crawl space underneath. And so for the plumber and the electrician, I just left the floor out so they could get easy access down there. And you're looking at these beams that are 100 some odd years old.
Oh my gosh!
Some of which needed to be reinforced just as you pulled it up. Wow. And so that $4,000 floor turns into an $8,000 venture just right there.
Right.
And then Banks had all that stuff on the wall, so you had to pull all that stuff down. And then I had the idea of I wanted to darken the floor to kind of lean into just all that stuff. And then it was really what really came down to it was building codes because Binks had been there for about 17 years.
Yeah, it was there for a while.
So all the codes that they had kind of grandfathered in had been updated. So by the time we got in,
that's right.
It's
essentially a new build at that point.
It's a new building. So it's like at that point, they're like, we've got some things you got to do that we weren't really banking on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kidding.
So we had to, I had to put in a whole new fire system. I had to pull in that pass-through door that goes to the roastery. We had to build that platform and that ramp, and then put a fire-rated door on there. Just all little stuff like that. I had the little exit door next to the counter that nobody uses. It's just an emergency. I had to build that. A door that no one's ever going to use, but that costs a fortune.
But it's got to be there.
It's just got to be there for codes.
Yep,
I got you.
Just stuff like that.
I think it's super cool how. So going back to your St. Andrews location, my little brother lived right around the corner from there when they would first start talking about building that gas station, and I was like, a gas station in the middle of a neighborhood, it's just weird, right?
Sure.
And then you guys open up, and I'm like, okay, I guess if there's going to be a gas station, it makes sense that there's a coffee shop, right? And man, you guys just exploded over there, and I think it's cool that you had the site to go, okay, this is not a traditional, this is not a highway, this is not medical center, this is not that, but I'm assuming, I'm hoping that your rent is lower than if you were on medical center.
No doubt. So when I moved here, I actually was looking at a different location. I scouted the location. I would come to Murfreesboro and look, and I was pretty deep in negotiations with a space over more towards MTSU off Memorial. And it just, when I moved here, and I literally live 1.5 miles from the St. Andrews store, and I would use St. Andrews as a cut through right, to get to Old Fort, just like a lot of people do. And I knew the gas station was there, and I saw the center behind it, and it was still kind of being built. Like nobody, there weren't even signs up for it. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna go look because this is so unique.
Yeah, there's nothing like that.
It's just residential all around it, and there's no other businesses that can be built around it. And you start thinking to yourself, what a cool spot this could be.
It's a true neighborhood shop.
It's a true neighborhood spot. And that's then I kind of shifted what I was initially going to kind of market it as versus what it ended up turning into. And I just pulled over. I started talking to the construction guys. I was like, what are these? They're like, 1,000 square feet. I said, can I get 2 of them? They're like, yeah, I don't see why not. So I called my broker, and it hadn't even been listed yet. And I said, see if you can find, some information about that. And then I just did a 180 and went there.
That's brilliant.
But to your point, I looked at Medical Center and I looked at over there, and the rents were double. And with our business model and our price points, unless I'm going to just gouge people on price, which I didn't want to do, it wasn't going to work.
I don't think y'all would have made it over there.
No chance.
I really don't think so.
No chance. And plus, aside from that, I also thought we'd get diluted over there.
Yeah.
I thought if we opened up over there, there's so much stuff over there.
You're 1 out of 1,000.
You're 1 out of 1,000.
Right.
Whereas that location in St. Andrews, we're
That's
kind of
baby.
it.
That's
We're
it.
kind of it. And so I thought this is either the dumbest thing I've ever done or it's the smartest thing I've ever done. Like, because this location was a straight up gamble. Because to this day they still haven't signed any other tenants in there. Other
Really?
than Jones next to me.
No kidding.
And it's funny because on one hand I hate it because I'd love to have other businesses pulling in people, and on the other hand I love it because we get all the parking.
You're right.
So,
That's a good point.
So when we, especially through COVID, which we needed, because COVID we turned it into basically a drive-through, and we needed that whole parking lot. If I had just the square at COVID, I don't think we make it. I think that goes because I didn't have the infrastructure there. Whereas here, because we had to shut the dining room down, we would just pull people in. They'd pull up. We'd tell them parking spot 2. We'd literally go out. There was chalk.
Nice.
Write it down. Boom. We'd walk out their food and drinks. See you later. See you tomorrow.
But there's enough traffic doing that. That's why I
there's
think
enough
it was
people in
brilliant.
that neighborhood who still, and that's how the burgers came about on our, because I didn't initially have burgers or really dinner stuff on the menu, but I did it through COVID because we were noticing people weren't really coming for breakfast. They weren't coming for, but people were still doing dinner.
Well, because they were working at home.
Right. And so we're like, well, we need to get a dinner special. So we started doing burgers and burger fries and a beer for like $10. And that just killed it. And so that's really what saved the whole business. And then I thought, okay, as we come out of COVID, we started getting pretty good at making these burgers. So I was like, well, let's just add that to the menu. And we ended up coming out of that a lot better off. The restaurant was better for it. You don't know that at the time. At the time, you're like,
oh no.
Yeah, but
What have I done?
what have I done? But then you also get this defiance, like this isn't going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
There's no way
Yeah.
this is.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't do all this to come here and have this be the way this ends. If if it's gonna go under, let it be me who screws it
You're
up.
going to swan dive that bad boy.
Yeah, let me. That's exactly right, man.
And what is it? I didn't come this far to only come this far.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Oh, I had this. It was just like, you're gonna have to kill me to it.
You're right.
It's not work. There's just no way. Because, like I said, I put all my chips on that one, and so, But
Oh, you put everything on red. Bicycle.
put everything on red.
That
That was good.
You're welcome.
That was really good. That was really good. And it's funny too because that's another reason I did the square was, that square location, that second location, that doesn't exist if people don't. I mean, it's all, you can change your business model and you can do all the adjustments you want. If people don't show up,
That's right.
it doesn't matter. And so the community just rallied and just helped us. And we worked really hard and we tried to give a good product and we work our tails off for that. But at the end of the day, we had people coming getting food every day. And they didn't need to come every day.
Yeah.
But they knew they were supporting it and they wanted to see it work.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that as long as I live. And so when the square opportunity came, I was like, okay, I don't really even care about cost at this point. I just want to make this awesome. I want to give Murfreesboro something kind of awesome. And so I didn't really spare much expense over here on the square. I didn't really care. I wanted to make that something special.
And kudos to your staff too, just by the way, because I've gone into one of my favorite things to do is I go into a place and I'm like, what's your favorite? What do you recommend?
Yeah.
And I'll try whatever they recommend.
Right.
But the thing is, they get so into it.
Yeah.
When you tell them,
Yeah.
I'm like, what's your favorite? Oh, let me tell you about, hold on. I made this the other day. You'll love it. I promise. And it was some kind of like raspberry white, I can't remember, but it was phenomenal. I was like, can you name this, please? Because I need to come back and get this again. But they're just so into it, and they really and they'll come by. They're like, how do you like it?
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, it's great, thank you.
I'm so lucky. I've got like now. I mean, when I started St. Andrews, I ran it too, so I worked 16 hours a day.
Oh wow.
Because I'm free labor, so I had,
well, yeah.
I had to work.
That's right.
I had to work all the time, so I managed it and owned it and worked all the time. But now with the two of them, I have general managers at both, and they're both fantastic. Nice. Katie over at St. Andrews and Olivia over at the Square, and then the staff that we've put together. It's just an amazing group, and the staff that I had when I started. I mean, these girls were amazing. Through COVID, I'm literally changing every day. I'm changing business model literally overnight.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna do this now. We're gonna do, and they're just rolling with it.
Yeah,
let's do it. And they did it with a smile on their face, and all of those variables are what added up to this. But the staff we have are just incredible. I love all of them. They're like family to me. They really are, and they're just a fun group over here in the Square. They have a good time. They're just, and then same over at St. Andrews. It's just, and that's why I did this. I wanted a place where you could come in and feel good. I'd worked in healthcare for 12 years. I'd been talking end of life for 12 years. I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to do something fun. I wanted to build somewhere that people enjoyed themselves. I wanted it to be communication, not on your phone. I don't want to do QR codes. I want it to be you come to the counter and we're going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I want them to feel us.
Well, that's like a lost art now almost.
It really is.
It's just conversation,
100%. And that's why COVID bummed me out so much. It was we ended up having to do the antithesis of what I built it for, which was you hand off and see you later. I built it to be a meeting spot where meet with your friends and your neighbors and get good food and good coffee and good drinks and have a space to like look at each other in the eye and talk, because I just think we're so immersed in the phones now. We're so immersed in all this pick up, grab and go. And I mean, you kind of have to do that to survive. But I really want it to be, a place where people are enjoying themselves. We play the music and we try to really work our butts off on getting good food and coffee. And then we do the mimosas and all the other stuff, but we want it to be fun. We want you to leave there oh, that place is awesome. We can't wait to come back.
I still remember when the first time, I know I've referenced that so many times, but because you had 80s music playing. Yeah. And I was like, dude, you got 80s? I was like, I like it already.
So I'm the youngest of 6. So I grew up on 80s music because my siblings all listened to it. And then, of course, I grew up on 90s music.
See, I'm the youngest of 5. Same exact thing. That's awesome.
So, and here's my thought process. I was like, well, if I'm going to be here 16 hours a day, I'm playing music I want to listen to.
Yep.
And so I just started, as we were building St. Andrews, I'd go home and I just started building this YouTube playlist because I knew I wanted to play videos. I've always wanted to, I loved MTV. I always wanted to play music videos.
R.I.P. MTV.
Yeah, I know,
right? Real MTV.
Real MTV.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to replicate that experience. So when you're waiting for your food, you're seeing all these. You might know the song, but maybe you don't see the video.
Yeah.
And so we play these music videos, and that was part of the fun. It's literally just I will listen to the gym what we play at those at the stores because that's really my playlist. And people are like, and I get asked all the time, where can I get this? I'm like, no.
So, I still remember it was Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, dude, living on a prayer. This is awesome.
Hell yeah.
So speaking of fun stuff in the store, what happened to the swing?
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Speaking of R.I.P.
You know what's funny about the swing? So the swing was my idea because I wanted something unique in the restaurant that made you like, oh, is that the place with the swing?
Yeah.
And I knew people would sit on and take pictures, and then it was a marketing thing. And so, we're finishing up the build on this place, and we're like a bunch of idiots. We're on YouTube, learning how to tie a swing. We don't know what we're doing. And so I become a rope expert on how to get what rope I need to buy. So I order the rope, and then we go to one of these electrical stores, and we're buying the beams to hang it from. And we're doing all this physics of learning how to do a swing, just so I can. And God bless the guys who helped build this place, because they're looking at me like, what are you doing?
This guy's an idiot.
And I'm like, it's going to work, though. It's going to be so unique. It's going to be, And the funny thing is, my initial plan was I was going to do a table along the wall, and I was going to have the swings be kind of the seat, so you could kind of take a picture and say. And then I literally sat on the swing and replicated what it would be like. I said, nope, we're not doing that because it's terrible. Because it was just,
Yeah.
But I still like the idea of having it, when you're waiting, you can just take a picture. So we, I I didn't want them free swinging, obviously, so I nailed it to the ground so you could kind of, you
move about this far,
move
right?
about this far.
Yeah.
So it worked. It was great. You're still asking about it, so it obviously worked, right?
Yeah.
So I stand by this. I don't regret doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we made this a nice little area. We got a lot of pictures. I got a lot of buzz, and it did everything I wanted to do. But on Saturdays and Sundays, we would get so busy, and we couldn't monitor. Like we can't and kids would come in post church, and I mean these kids are they're inventive because they would find a way to unhook it from the ground.
Oh, no.
And I'd be seeing these kids like at the playground.
Oh God!
And all I'm thinking is
insurance claim.
Yep. Somebody falls. And
I'm like, if one of these kids, because it's concrete floor. I'm like,
or they swing into somebody else and they spill coffee.
I had this. What did it one day is this kid was swinging, and the parents don't care. So I'm looking at the parents like, come on, man.
Yeah.
And this kid is just barreling into the wall. It's drywall. I mean, barreling into it. I'm like, that drywall's going to straight go. He's going to go right through that wall. And that was the day I'm like, all right, we're done with the swings. And so it was kind of a twofold reason. A, insurance liability. I was like, before someone kills themselves, I'm getting rid of these. And then secondly, and luckily we just got so busy, I needed the space for tables. So we just put 2 more tables, and it gave me 8 more seats, and I kind of needed it at that time.
Sure.
So the swings were a good 3-4 months. It helped me get off the ground. It gave me some notoriety in the beginning, but then I had to go.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious on one thing. You said how like your friend with the Nashville stores or whatever, but why a coffee shop? Why? What have you always been drawn to a coffee shop?
No,
or?
I knew nothing about coffee. No, it wasn't even about the coffee shop per se. It wasn't. For me, it was like I just said, I wanted somewhere where people would get together.
Okay.
Coffee is a great way for that to happen.
For sure.
And so, my whole idea was I wanted a happy place. And if you look at St. Andrews, it's bright, it's fun, we're playing music. I want it to be a fun, enjoyable spot.
Used to be able to swing there.
But coffee's conducive to that, right? Like having a cup of coffee with your friends or sitting in meetings. And that was another part of the allure for me was I didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
I never ran a restaurant in my life. I didn't know anything about coffee, but I wanted to get into something I knew nothing about. That was kind of I had been pretty stagnant. I'd worked in healthcare for about 12 years. I was very good at it. I hated it. I had no passion for it.
Yep.
And so I was like, if I'm going to go and do this 180 life change and put all my eggs in this basket, I want to do something I want to really challenge myself. And then
nice.
That was really the challenge. It's like I've ran businesses, but I've never ran a restaurant. So I had to learn all this stuff, and thank God the community and people in that neighborhood will tell you, we had growing pains. I mean, that first 6 months. I mean, I'm learning just as anyone else. I made tons of mistakes, but they were patient with us because I would promote, like we had a Mother's Day. We call it Mother's Day Massacre. I literally the first.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God! So I opened November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So 6 months in, I finally, all through COVID, I'm like, I gotta get this website up. I need online ordering. If I don't have online ordering, because the phone was not a really great way to do it. Mm-hmm. This is so stupid. I'm so embarrassed by this story, but so I launched the website Wednesday before Mother's Day, which is Sunday, and then. Every item on the website has a default prep time, right? And so it was always like 30 minutes. So we get to Mother's Day and the online order, and I had been promoting it and this and that. So the online orders just start coming in at a pace that we can't possibly.
Oh,
we're talking, bzz, 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 bzz. I mean, and we're like, uh-oh. Because we can't, there's just no way. We have one espresso machine, and so we have tickets just lined up on top of each other.
Oh, gosh.
And so I'm panicking. So I go to the website and I'm like, and this is still through COVID, so the dining room's still closed.
Yeah.
This is all just pickup.
Oh my gosh.
So I go to the website and I'm like, I changed the default time to an hour and a half, or hour or something like that, just so people know it's going to be a little bit before you can come in and get your food. Well, I didn't realize that all the items weren't set to default. They all had their own individual times.
Oh no.
So the people were still being told 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Unless they ordered that one drink.
Even still, because the one drink might be over here.
Yeah.
So we had a dining room. I'll never forget. We had this dining room full of people, pissed, and we hadn't even started their order. Like, we hadn't even got to it because we were so overwhelmed.
No.
And did they pay online?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So I ended up, that was a fun day. So I did.
It was a fun day.
And we only had, I think I only had 2 cooks back there at the time. I think I had me and 2 other girls. So it was only 3 of us. Like, we were not ready for this at all. And it was awesome, but it was horrible because it's great to get the business, but if you can't fulfill it, you're never getting that business.
Yeah,
again.
what's the point? Yeah.
So you're not even happy. You're just mortified. This whole day I'm mortified. And so I ended up, I refunded a lot that day. I think I refunded over $500 that day.
Oh, wow.
And then I spent the night answering a lot of Facebook messages and pissed off people and apologizing. And we had a lot of growing pains like that, figuring this stuff out. The first night we did a burger special, we couldn't even hang up the phone. Like, we'd hang beep, beep. And so we were getting so many orders, and I ran out of fries in like 20 minutes. And we ran out of beer in like 30 minutes. And then the phone died because we had one cordless phone.
Holy cow.
The phone died within 30 minutes, which I think was God coming in and being like, y'all can't.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We're cutting you off.
Stop now.
Stop now. So like that did. And so people were like messaging, we can't get through. And, this is a small business of a dude who's learning as he goes, And
I so can relate to this.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
But you know what? In hindsight, sounds like a good problem to have.
It was, yeah. I mean, I had a marketing background, so like that was always I was always going to be able to do that. And then, but the problem was on the back end. Okay, now you got to learn how to fulfill all this.
Yeah.
It's one thing to promote it and get people in there, but it's another thing that now you got to deliver. And that's the part I had to really learn, and I'm still learning. I mean, but you learn quick.
Yeah.
I mean, how it is. You go through a day like that, you learn pretty fast. And
you don't ever want to do that again.
And you never want to do it again.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's like you threw yourself to the lions.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm gonna do this. Let's go in the deep end. Let's go.
That's exactly right. Let's go in the deep end. And let's go. And that's how it was. And we're a lot more dialed in now. We got it down now, but. It was a struggle, man. I mean, we
and if you're, it's not hard for all of a sudden the wheels to fall off.
Oh, like that, man.
Yeah, you got a system, you got a great staff, and one thing happens, ring, ring, ring. I got COVID. I'm not coming in, and it's a key player,
right?
Yeah,
and then that happens to be a day that you're busy because there's some event on the square or whatever, and it's like,
oh man, when I first opened, I'd say the first 6 months, there wasn't a week went by where some staff member who was supposed to open didn't show.
Oh no!
And so I would have to do that once a week. I just didn't sleep because I'd be
Dang.
up waiting for the alert. Such and such didn't show, and you get the alert from the clock, and then I'd go to the cameras. Are they really not there? Do they not clock in?
Did
they just forget to clock? And half the time it's like, okay, they're there, just didn't clock in. But half the time, pitch dark.
So then you got to get up and
so
go.
you're throwing on the hoodie, and that's why ultimately why I picked that location. I was like, I need to be close to the store.
Okay.
And so I would go in there and open and work all day.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot. And that's hard, man.
Yeah.
But like you said, the place has to be open because the wheels can fall off because as a coffee shop, and especially in a neighborhood coffee shop, your goal is to get them to you want to be part of their routine.
That's it.
Right.
And so to do that, you have to be consistent.
That's it.
And that's why I like to be open all the time. I like, we're open 7 to 9 Monday through Saturday, 8 to 4 on Sunday. I like
predictable hours.
Hours, easily accessible, easy online ordering process. I want that, we want it to be accessible. And so when you're starting out, it's even that much more important. And so those days were especially stressful because you're just like, we can't not open. So and it ultimately falls on me. And so I had to learn real quick to be a very good barista. I had to learn how to cook. There's nothing in that restaurant I won't do or can't do or haven't done.
And family and friends have to understand that. Guess what? I may have to cancel on you.
Well, that was
right. Yeah.
And it's funny. I'm not married. I don't have any kids, and I don't think I could. The way the schedule warranted. I mean, you're there all the time. It is an all-consuming gig, and there's just no way. I don't know how you do it with family or kids or other
It can suck.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
Oh, it has its tough moments.
Yeah.
My daughter has said on a couple of occasions, Dad, you work too much. She's 10.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes,
it's
I
tough.
do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
Yeah. For me, it's just my dogs would look at me like,
where you been, dude?
where you been, man?
Where you been, man? Come on.
Yeah.
I want to go for a walk.
Me.
Come on.
Yeah. Take me outside. Let's go.
That's all I had to deal with, at least the dogs. But
yeah.
it is an all-consuming thing. But now, now that I've got the managers and I can kind of just focus on owning it and really just and doing stuff like this is a lot more fun for me. So the day-to-day stuff was hard, but it was necessary. You had to do it to get to this point.
When you can't have a well-trained staff if you don't know how to do it.
Correct.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it. And I remember calling Lee over at Stay Golden, who's our espresso trainer, and I said, Lee, I got to become the best barista in Murfreesboro because I have staff not showing up every day. I gotta get because not only do I've got to be able to do it and do it fast because we have one espresso machine. There's a 3-group espresso machine. You got drink tickets lined up and you got to go.
Are you a good latte artist?
Yeah. I am now.
I am now.
I know Jeremy over at Red Bicycle has hosted, or at Brass Horn rather, has hosted latte art throwdowns. Have you participated in any of those?
Not yet. I'm not ready for a throwdown.
That'd be fun.
Now, I have baristas who work for me who could do it. They're better than me. I'm rusty, though, to be fair. I haven't done this in a while.
Hey, man, excuses. I'm just saying.
Listen, I'm competitive. You give me 2 weeks of just, I'll schedule my shift. I'll go. I'll be like, all right,
I think we need to have this. I think this needs to happen.
Hey, where's Jason? He's in the back practicing.
He's got 14 cups of coffee lined up.
My man's got 17 lattes, and he's just been,
Look at this. It looks like Mona Lisa.
It is one of those things, though. Like latte art's one of those things where it's like anything. It's reps, man. You gotta just do it so much to where you're, not to get too much into the weeds, but latte art is all about your milk steaming. So if your milk steaming's right, the latte art kind of does itself, and then you can manipulate it. But that just comes with reps and hearing it and feeling it and getting used to the machine you're on and all those kinds of things.
I always wondered that because I've seen like YouTube videos of like somebody in New York or something, and they make one, and they make some very elaborate,
super fast.
And you're like, oh, there's the New York skyline. How the heck did you do that? Like with windows and everything. What the heck?
No, I'm not at that level quite yet. I can do a heart.
Hey, there you go. Can you do the leaf like we always say?
I can do the leaf. I can do those
awesome.
things. But that's all milk steaming. That's all. You get that dialed in, you can. You can.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Killer. Well, man, you got anything for our audience you want to put out there real quick? We're actually, you did awesome, by the way. But and I started late.
You weren't boring,
so you made awesome time on this one.
Good, thank you.
But anything you want to share to the viewers out there? I know you said something about Valentine's Day.
I think we have the Valentine's Day coming out. The latte. I think for me, and I did a podcast last week. I ended the same way. I just, I live here in Murfreesboro. It's just me with these 2 stores. These are unique to Murfreesboro. They're I like I said, these are my neighbors. This is my community too. So, really just thank you. I want to thank everyone for keeping St. Andrews afloat and then giving me this opportunity to come on the square. And I'm here to just make these stores and make this experience for the community as good as I can, hopefully for the next 10 years or so, and just give the community something awesome. And we're going to work really hard to continue that. So really I'm just so grateful. I love this town. I love the people of this town. And so that's really it. It's just really just thank you. And
that's awesome.
And we're going to continue to work our tails off to give you something good.
You guys rock.
All right.
Hey, get a French toast.
French toast.
It's delicious.
This is phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
This was gone like 30 minutes ago. I'm trying to
I'm still nursing mine.
Tiny little bit
the sugar, but it's delicious. I've already had my dessert for the day.
See, there you go. You're good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for watching. We appreciate it as always. Tune in next week. And what do I always say? Oh, yeah. Go put a smile on somebody's face today. I almost forgot my closing line. Go put a smile on somebody's face today. There we go. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Have a good week.